Amy Rose, the cheerful pink hedgehog who wields a big ass hammer, is always happy to help her friends and has a giant crush on Sonic the Hedgehog. This is common knowledge for most Sonic fans, but what you might not know is that Amy may be hiding something much more personal and darker. I'd like to suggest a theory that Amy Rose, the bubbly pink hedgehog, suffers a mental disorder. For this video, I'd like to discuss my theory on this matter, and keep in mind that I'll only be going through the video game canon and not any of the TV shows or comics for this theory. Now, there have been a few theories on this subject, with the most popular ones being that she is colorblind and that she is an erotomaniac. The colorblind theory is most commonly used by Sonic fans who have noticed that Amy has mistaken other hedgehogs, notably Shadow and Silver the Hedgehog, and points out that they are different colors and would be easy to spot the difference. While this seems possible considering Shadow looks somewhat similar to Sonic, Silver on the other hand looks a lot more different, and that leads me to thinking that it's not the color that's confusing Amy. The erotomaniac theory was popularized by a YouTuber and Sonic theorist called GamerGuide7Aces, and his theory suggested that Amy suffers from erotomania. Erotomania, in short, is a mental disorder in which the person suffering it believes someone loves them, most commonly celebrities, even though that person might not even know who that person is. GamerGuide suggested that this same thing happened to Amy when she first heard about Sonic, and it's a well-made theory, but I don't really see Amy as an erotomaniac, due to how close Sonic and Amy's friendship has gotten. Plus, if Sonic's got more closer to Amy, wouldn't that be fanning the fire more instead of putting it out? A link in the description to that theory will be provided if you are interested in watching it. Now, you're probably thinking, if you don't believe Amy suffers from these mental disorders, then what does she suffer from? Well, I believe Amy suffers from prosopagnosis. Prosopagnosis, which is also commonly known as face blindness, is a mental disorder in which the ability to recognize familiar faces is impaired, while visual processing like object discrimination and intellectual functioning like decision making remain intact. There are two types of prosopagnosis, the first being acquired prosopagnosis, in which the individual acquires the mental disorder due to the result of brain damage, and the other being developmental prosopagnosis, in which the individual never properly develops the ability to recognize faces. There's currently no known way to cure prosopagnosis, and people who suffer this, or prosopagnotics as they are known as, often learn to use feature-by-feature recognition strategies to help them recognize people. This may involve secondary clues or features like clothing, hair color, body shape, and voice. Amy could suffer from either type of prosopagnosis, as she could have suffered a head injury during Sonic CD, Sonic R, Sonic Fighters, and Sonic Adventure, which led to brain damage, or could have never actually developed the ability to recognize faces. Now, there have been 3 specific times where Amy has mistaken or not recognized someone, and each time revolved around her mistaking someone as Sonic. The first time we saw Amy mistake someone for Sonic was during Sonic Adventure 2, in which Amy mistook Shadow as Sonic. I'm sure most people are familiar with this scene, but what's interesting about this is Amy's reaction to realizing her mistake. She seemed surprised and shocked that the person she ran up to wasn't Sonic, and leads me to believe that this was the first time Amy had mistaken anyone for Sonic. This could be when she first realized something was wrong with her and decided to try and see what exactly was going on with her. The second time we see Amy mistake someone for Sonic was during Sonic 06, in which Amy ended up mistaking Silver for Sonic. Her reaction was different when she realized she had mistaken someone for Sonic again. She seemed embarrassed about mistaking Silver for Sonic. One thing that was different about this scenario was the time of day, as it was nighttime, which could make recognizing a person's features more difficult. This could suggest that Amy had been learning to use the feature-by-feature strategy, but had not quite perfected it yet, which results in her making a mistake. The third and final time we've seen Amy mistake someone for Sonic is during Sonic Unleashed. The situation was a little different, however, as instead of mistaking someone for Sonic, she didn't recognize him at all, as he was in his Werehog form at this time. When Amy took a better look at Werehog Sonic, she didn't recognize him and was apologetic towards him for the mistake, and seemed confused as
I could have sworn it was him.
this might suggest that Amy had been continuing to learn this feature-by-feature strategy and had definitely gotten bad at it. She was confused as the feature-by-feature strategy she used ended up not working, as she thought she had mistaken someone as Sonic yet again, though she was correct and did in fact find Sonic. While it is true that Sonic does look quite different in his Werehog form, he still could be recognized as Sonic, due to the shape of his quills remaining mostly the same in both his normal form and his Werehog form. And something that is worth mentioning is that Tails was able to recognize Sonic much more quickly than Amy. When Tails first saw and even heard Sonic in his Werehog form, Tails' response was,
Sonic, is that really you?
This suggests that Tails could still recognize Sonic to a degree, even when he looks and sounds quite different. Something Amy didn't do until briefly seeing Sonic a second time, and even then Professor Pickle had to confirm that for her. It took Amy 2 attempts and someone to pretty much tell her that the big hairy hedgehog was Sonic the whole time. One last thing I'd like to mention is during some dialogue with Amy, when she has found out about Sonic's Werehog form, she tells Sonic that she doesn't care about what he looks like because it's still him. Besides this being something sweet Amy has said, she might also be saying this as she can't properly recognize people's faces, which would make looks something she doesn't care about because she wouldn't be able to properly recognize people's faces, which includes Sonic's face and thus would make having a pretty face irrelevant to her. So that pretty much wraps up my theory. In summary, I believe Amy suffers prosopagnosis and discovered that she suffered it during Sonic Adventure 2. Her different reactions for each time she mistook someone as Sonic suggests that she had been learning to use the feature-by-feature strategy, and her not caring about Sonic's looks may have been her discreetly telling us that she can't actually recognize Sonic's face. If you enjoyed my theory, feel free to hit that like button and comment down below if you think this theory could be true, or if you have a different theory. I'd like to hear your opinions on this. Also give me some criticism and advice on what I could improve on with these kinds of videos. I would appreciate the feedback. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll talk to you guys later.